Hey, I'm back. I think Comcast is being screwy. Hi, Alex. And I'm back. Daryl, Nappy. Nothing much. Thought I'd just host a little AMA here. So, as it says, ask me anything. Talk about my experiences, future videos, military questions, non-military questions. Anything's on the table. Now, final countdown. No, I have not seen it. I've been asked about it probably 20 times on the channel, but one day I will do it for a. Sorry. Yeah, one day I will do it for a military movie bullshit. But I've heard it's really good. Of course, even the best military movie you can pick at a little bit. What's up, Ace? You look at any other Navy YouTubers? No, I haven't. I remember your link. I think I looked at one of them briefly, but yeah, I just got lost in the amount of homework and other shit like running this channel and doing my other job. School and two jobs is sometimes can get a little draining. Funniest thing that happened to me in the Navy. Oh, Jesus. I don't know. My bachelor party was pretty fucking funny. It's a very long story. But if I do it, I'll probably bring on my best man, and we'll discuss that. I'm going for a degree in film and media, Alex. A non-bachelor party. I don't know. It's more the little things you hear. I mean, I think one of the funny things, I told the story in Singapore trying to get some hooker ass with like 20 minutes before we had to get back to the ship. You know, that one's just up in my list of like just what the fuck, just more of the what the fuck factor plus the hilarity of it. My rate was MC. I did 20 years. First as a yeoman, then as a journalist, then as they combined a mass communication specialist. Heading to Boots. Oh, you're going to MC. Be personable. That's the main thing. You know, your job is public affairs. You're supposed to be friendly. You have to be good at socializing. Like too many guys I've met in that job field that just like work persons, and I'm like, you're in the wrong career field. MC, mass communication specialist. My vape is a smock. Question a minute back. Sorry, I'll try to vape away from the. Hasbro. Yeah, all my stuff is resolved with them. Just like all the rest of them, they eventually either denied or accepted my response to the claim, or they just ignored it, and eventually YouTube dropped it. Yeah, it's a combined rate of journalist, photographer's mate, lithographer's mate, and draftsman. They combined all the media rates back in 2006. Before that, I was a journalist. Yeah, I will be doing more G.I. Joe in the future. I have a couple other ideas. I like to do the cartoon movie and the 2 live-action movies. And my favorite episode of all time, No Place Like Springfield, I definitely have to do. Even though I think the military content's pretty low in that, since it's Shipwreck and a Dream. Yeah, if you were in the 80s, yeah, like they combined so many rates after that. Like I like when I came in, Pattern Maker and built there's another one like it. I can't remember. It just came. There's a bunch of those races that were going away right then. OTA went away. Do Forrest Gump. Military content's kind of small on that one. So Yeah, I could do like a mini short. Like there's a bunch of stuff I wanted to combine anyway. I could just do like this, the Army section of Forrest Gump. I go to Fort Meade A School. Yes, that's where every immediate person goes in all the military. Yeah, mess specialist, culinary specialist. They used to be sea cook. They've had like a million names. Flags of Our Fathers is a really decent movie. It's on my I think one of my top 30 movies. And I don't know if it's one I do for the channel. Certain movies I'm just going to avoid. That might be one of them. I think Forrest would have really existed in the Army of Vietnam like he did. Yeah, I mean, he wasn't that stupid compared to some people that have been in the military. So I could absolutely believe he was he ended up in the Army. Now, why he was in the movie, he went enlisted after going through getting a college graduate. A school similar to college. Anyway, that's a question for military movie bullshit. Now, A school like college, there's similarities. It's a lot of kids like 18, 19. They're in barracks and they're going to school. So, yeah. My movie bashing videos, those are done with love. I'm not bashing them. I'm picking on them a little bit. I'm busting their balls. Hey, we're in the Navy. We can bust some balls. So if I join the Army, should I do what I do, and the drill sergeant will love me? Yeah, I think if you're that good of boot camp, the drill sergeant will love you. Yeah, Fort Meade was the same way on that giant frat house in the schools. Yeah, I bashed some of them, like G.I. Jane I bashed. That movie was bullshit. That one truly did like just piss me off for various reasons, and none of them are what people usually bash it for. I think like every other military movie bullshit, it was like usually something I liked. I don't really like watching stuff I don't like. All right, Alex, take care, man. So I mean, even like, Under Siege, which is not great or anything, but I can have fun with that movie, so it doesn't bother me. Top Gun doesn't bother me. Down Periscope. I mean, I really love that movie. So those don't bother me. Full Metal Jacket is one of the greatest military movies ever done. Yeah, absolutely. I loved reviewing those, and even if I'm picking at them, Predator, I just did. I mean, that's a classic. And a lot of times I do praise them. I get into the, like overall this is really good. It's what they screwed up with, blah blah blah. It doesn't matter. It's like if it's enjoyable, it's enjoyable. Whoever wants to be a Marine mechanic. I always have a thing with people who join the Marines that aren't like holding a rifle. I just don't get it. Why don't you if you want to go do that job, why don't you do it in one of the other services? I don't know. I mean, I guess there's a duality to that, but. Yeah, Battleship, Crimson Tide. I watched a little bit of Battleship. I made a joke review of that one. It looked cheesy. Crimson Tide, of course. I mean, to get into everything about the logistics of the story they told that they got wrong is like, I know it hurts a lot of people's heads, and I think I would screw that up even trying to explain it, because I ain't a sub or a nuke guy, but I know enough to know like how much stuff they got wrong in that situation. Men of Honor. I've actually never seen that movie. Just bits and pieces on the ship. But I'm definitely not against it. I said, movies like Flags of Our Fathers would be tough. Platoon would be tough. And Apocalypse Now is one of the greatest military movies of all time, and like even that is like, there's definitely shit I can pick at it for, but it's like, I don't know. At some point, it's like you're losing the point. You believe mechanics should only be given to civilians? Well, it's tougher in the battlefield. That's why they have all these civilian type jobs for military, because you have to worry about civilians being in harm's way and being able to pick up a weapon. So that's why the military has mechanics and cooks and people like that. Is it tough to advance to an MC? Not really. MC1 and Chief at that level, it starts getting really tight. But MC3, 2, last I knew of the Rex, it was pretty open. Most guys made MC2 in like 4 years, if not 3. Then usually MC1's like it gets real tight, and then Chief's really tough. Well, a lot of them have a mixture of Army mechanics and civilians. So what you're talking about there. But the fact that they have both, and then when they deploy, they can take the military trained ones, is why they do it. And before, it used to be like it was all military, and they've actually have divvied a lot of that up to civilians. But like for a ship, I mean, what are we going to bring a bunch of civilians on board to do those jobs and deploy them? I mean, you just need a lot of people. The Navy has always been made up of people who are more than just straight gun shooters. Army's always had cooks and scribes and those type. It's just it's the nature of the beast. No, I mean you're actually. I mean they've kind of been leaning that way, Brian. You're not absolutely wrong. That's why they have been hiring a lot more civilians doing those jobs. It's okay if you're a lesbian, Brian. No one cares. It's 2017. But yeah, they have been like scaling down a lot of those jobs and giving them to civilians, and making the forces that do go out in deployment smaller than in non-combat roles. Hey, I'm a lesbian too, so it's all good. Sorry, I know that joke's like ancient as your granddad, but sometimes you got to tell the classics. Yeah, the hypotheses you're thinking of, though, Brian. Yeah, you're not far off from what's actually happening right now. Oh, he's doing boot things, Ace. Of course, he's already got his. Of course, that's his profile picture. I bet he wears a backpack and some ridiculous hat and bits of civilian clothes and in civvies. What's up, Maximus? No, you can ask me anything you want. Not much you. Same old, same old. Should probably be studying for school than doing this, but hey, you can have some fun sometimes. NFL. Yeah, I did actually mention it earlier before the stream got cut off. It's like, I get the points on both sides. I have my opinions on it, but I mean, fuck it. Like we're like, I'd rather hear more about us going to war with Korea. I just hear too much about it. Yeah, I read Starship Troopers like 20 years ago, like a year before I saw the movie. I remember laughing my ass off at the movie. It was fucking hilarious. I used to. When I first saw it, though, it was hilarious because I just thought it was so bad. But then I did learn to appreciate the cheese and what it was trying to do. Yeah, South Korean soldier, PRK soldier, as they're called, was killed at the DMZ, People's Republic of Korea. Yeah, and the thing was, like, usually I'm pretty good with remembering books, and like even though it's only been a year since I'd read Starship Troopers before I saw the movie, I really didn't remember much other than the basic plot. Like I really didn't notice what they changed as much about it as I probably should have. Last Castle is a great movie. I've seen it once, but I absolutely did love it. I would definitely be interested just to watch the movie again because it's just one of those movies like I should go back and watch. James Gandolfini is great. And also the military prison is like that. That's a unique concept. They don't. That's like I think the only movie that does that. Dirty Dozen, I guess, technically. But it's an interesting subgenre. Daily life on the ship is never one you see in movies. It's like we've had TV shows, Corporal Sharkey and such, but website rap, blah blah blah. Yeah, I did a live stream once, and it was yeah, I had a lot of connection problems. So I want to make sure like I'm not when I have an issue if I do try to do that again. Like if you watch the Under Siege one, you see how it goes out a bunch of times. That might be a more technical issue. The more I'm trying to do more with this channel, I should look into beyond just bitching about Comcast. Situation Puerto Rico. From what I hear, is pretty fucked. It's like we're not treating them as we would the rest of America, and I think that's wrong. Those are Americans. And we need to do everything we can to help them. Do you ever meet NCIS on duty? Yes, I worked at the Brig in Jacksonville, Florida. I was the front desk guy for about 4 months when I was in TPU. Yeah, NCIS guys came in all the time, and occasionally you see them on the ship over the years. But the most of them I remember was at Jacksonville Brig because it was like at least three times a week they came in to invest, talk to somebody about the drugs they were selling or whatever. Navy Criminal Investigative Service. It is they investigate Navy and Marine Corps criminal offenses that have civilian consequences, and it's an outside investigation, so that's it's separate from the actual Navy, which gives it more autonomy and not chances of favoritism. The Army has CID. I think they also do the Air Force, or Air Force might have their own. I don't remember. There's a whole TV show about it, so if you want to know about NCS, I think there's two of them actually, New Orleans and LA. So go watch shows. I mean, it looks like any other police procedural, but I mean, they're talking about military crimes. I watch it with my mom. She watches all those kind of shows, so that's usually the only time I see it. Yeah, my main memory of them was like just interviewing guys that were drug dealers in Jacksonville Brig, and they usually were like they seemed very surly and not happy to be there because they knew I interviewed Jackass again for the 6th time. Occasionally, they come in and interview somebody who was accused of messing around with underage girls, which was more than you would be comfortable knowing that existed in your Navy. I'll tell you that. And I'm not talking about like full pedophile, but like teenage girls, that kind of thing. Though, of course, there's fucking pedophiles too, but the ones I usually saw were like guys who were chatting online with like 16-year-old girls and ended up getting caught by their parents. Yep, screwed by the blue weenie. I remember one of the guys was like his girlfriend was his 16-year-old girlfriend was secretly sending him messages in code, and they managed to figure it out because he was supposed to have like no contact with her because he was 20 years old. America has a Navy. Yes, it's the biggest Navy in the world. Or at least fighting neck and neck with China and Russia. I don't know if that was an attempt at trolling or humor or whatever, but okay. I don't think the American Navy's a power. See what happens to every country we send a fucking aircraft carrier out to, bitch. Yeah, they shut up. When we go away, they start talking again. They be quiet. When we leave, they start talking again. Sorry, I had a little Friday on the mind. Actually thinking about doing a research paper on it. All right, Bessimus, just making sure. If you want it to be funny, tell a Navy gay joke. That's always guaranteed to laugh. I like the British Navy. I wouldn't make fun of them. I've been stationed with them, and I've done exercises with them. cool blokes. Queen Elizabeth carrier. I don't know much about it. I can't even picture it in my head. Is that the one with a ramp on the end? What am I doing now that I'm out of the Navy? I am going to Georgia State University. I am a freelance journalist, and I do YouTube videos for fun and profit. Yeah, you guys sold. Yeah, that's the one you guys. I'm more familiar with it. The ones you sold to Thailand. I see them out there when we did exercise with them. It's a funky little aircraft carrier. it's cute. It's tiny. It's got a big ramp. Yeah, UGA's in Athens, so that would be a long ass trip from southeast of Atlanta. That's 2 hours north of Atlanta. Believe it or not, UGA is not in Atlanta area. It's actually a town called Athens, which is 2 hours north, which is like almost practically the mountains. U.S. is not the only one with flat deck carriers. Yeah, I mean, all jokes aside, yeah, I mean, sending an American aircraft carrier out someone's way is it gets attention. Like I think more than about any other kind of move you can make, just because of the size, just because just the forward president brings with it. So it's like, I mean, I don't know how many missions I've done, like on the carrier sitting outside North Korea, which we always seem to have problems with. It's a deterrent. It's a deterrent just by presence. Biggest carrier it's something in the new Ford class. Like every time they build a new one, like they throw an extra meter on it just to say the newest one's the biggest one. So basically, whatever the newest carrier is, I think it's the Ford. That's going to be the biggest one. Like I said, like whoever's in charge of designing it always makes sure to get that extra foot in to say he has the biggest aircraft carrier. Very hard to sink carrier or destroyer. As you saw the two recent collisions, they were horrific. If you saw the bombing on the USS Cole, it was horrific. Giant, huge holes in the side, and they're still up. It's really hard to just the way they designed the bowels and moving all the tanks. I mean, it's something the size of a carrier. Yeah, I mean, I've watched my own carrier that I was stationed on blown up twice, and Some of All Fears and Transformers 2. So I'm always like, every time we watch those movies, it's like, yeah, this is bullshit. Well, except maybe Megatron. I mean, it is Megatron. So. But it's for dramatic sake. It is really, I mean, it's really difficult to sink an aircraft carrier. But dramatically for a movie, I mean, what's cooler than that? Submariners say everything's a target. They also say Submariners, 100 men go down, 50 couples come up. Giving my mom some relief. Hey, that's my line. That was my funnest part of my job when I was working public affairs in the carrier was we were not allowed to confirm or deny we had nuclear weapons on board, which we did not. We do not have the capability to carry nuclear weapons, as far as I know. Well, if it is, it's a secret beyond my my level of clearance. But basically, yeah, we didn't carry them, but we couldn't say no, we don't if we were asked. Fun little things of public affairs. Why are we just watching a TV? I didn't feel like putting my face on TV right now. You guys better things to stare out than my old scraggly beard face. I had MMA videos going earlier, but YouTube starts sending me messages like, "Hey, you're stealing content." I'm like, okay. So just look at a picture. It's pretty. But 100 men go down, 50 men come up. Okay. Hello. Welcome back. Comcast is being a dick. At least I assume it's Comcast at this point. So at some point I need to go look into like ensuring a better connection when I do these kind of things. Hello, back. Welcome back again, Ace. No idea what happened that time. All of a sudden, my internet was not working. And then I went to go check the router and nothing was wrong, and I come back and it's on. No, it wasn't just YouTube. Like I checked the rest of my stuff and it was like not working. No, it might just be me and you here. Ace, just like everyone else, bailed the last breakdown. Well, think of something to say. Weather is still slightly hot, but starting to turn fall here in Georgia. Sometimes I get in my car in the afternoon and it's like 96 degrees, like a friggin' oven. Where are you from, Ace? Houston. Oh yeah, it's even hotter there, which I didn't think was possible. So I went to Texas. Dallas in 05 in the summer. Pretty goddamn hot. And I heard Houston's worse down there on the Gulf. Yeah, I've only been into Texas a couple times. Drove through it a bunch. El Paso, yeah. Just got here. Where are you? I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, or actually a suburb called Decatur. But interesting handle there, respect veterans. Yep, I'm Navy. Heat stroke is a constant concern playing football in Texas. I bet so. Hey, another El Paso person. I visited my cousin there once. Acosti, hey. I remember El Paso being hot as fuck too. It's more of a desert heat. And what high school do you go to? Are there like not that many high schools there, or is there like a lot? Like what do like around Atlanta? There's so many fucking high school teams. Like I wouldn't know. You might name a high school I know, but I might not. Now when I went to rural Arkansas, different story. I did kind of know all the high schools around there. There's 5 to 8. Yeah, so you guys probably would know each other. School then. Little area I'm from in like basically like the whole northeast quadrant of Arkansas kind of all plays each other in high school football. So like I know all those towns just because we played them in football all the time. Someone says I'm from Pocahontas or I'm from Ravenden. I'm like, yep, I know all those places. Oh, congrats. Enjoy shipping out. That's a couple weeks from now. Don't smoke any pot or other drugs. You're saying, duh, of course I wouldn't. I just know a lot of people, you know, went to, either knew them or knew or heard of them from when their experiences at boot camp, the people that got booted out because they had a last going away celebration party and usually smoked weed. And I did, of course, didn't get through boot camp. Keep it in mind. Enjoy Great Lakes, Killjoy. What's going to be your rate? Oh, you're going to swear and you're not going for boot camp. Okay. Do you have any idea what you want if you're going to go talk to the detailer the first time? Submarines, corpsmen, or cryptology? 87, you can kind of do whatever you want, so. I'd recommend crypto. That's a good fucking line of work to get into. Critters have been vague to you. Not a good sign. Probably also a sign you're not asking the right questions. But half the time you don't know what questions to ask. Well, if you want a corpsman and they won't say why, and they won't give you a good reason why not to do it, I would ask. And yes, the MC job is a unicorn. There might be a good reason. They might be looking to fill places. Another thing, if I would guess, given your high ASVAB, they want you to take like a high critical job, like CT, because they need high fills in those areas because people leave all the time because the work outside the field, the work outside in the civilian world is worth so much more. So keeping cryptos is a little tough, and those jobs are always highly critical. So if you have an 87 on ASVAB or even considering it, they probably want to, I would guess, push you towards probably CT. If I were to make a wild guess. You got 98? Yes, they absolutely wanted to send you nuclear CT. I was weird in the middle. I had a 75 the first time, 77 the second time. They were first time they really didn't care what I did. Second time they were like, I already had my mind made up because I'd been through before. So I never got like a push from the either of my recruiters either time I went through. First time I picked Yeoman, he's like, oh, that's cool. Didn't care. Yeah, actually one of my old Navy CT buddies was on here earlier. If you don't know go nuke, you'll regret it from years from now. No, not necessarily. Just because you have the ASVAB score doesn't mean you have the internal desire to do that job. And that school is fucking murder. If you ever watch my tips for joining Navy Bootcamp, like I talk about like what fucking murder house nuke school is. And then you got to do that job. You know, you get 2 years of training to go stare at a meter for 5 years. A lot of guys just don't fucking like it. They don't even like. A lot of them don't stay in the field when they get out. Oh yeah, it's called nuking it. Like being a nuke is like, you know, you overthink everything because they're so fuck. These guys are usually so fucking smart. You know, they overthink tying their fucking shoes. So, you know, but there's a term for, you know, nuking it or being nuke-like in the military for anyone who's had to deal with them. I remember at A school getting the dropouts. And you'd always spot them. Like they had a look about them. They had just a way of talking. It was like yeah, I just got shuffled over from a different A school. It was like, oh, you're a nuke, huh? They're like, yeah. 9 times out of 10, if they weren't that, they were push button, you know, ET, IFC type. But usually one of those fields. An HS friend that was a nuke tech served on a tender. I have no idea what that's about, dude. Well, it's funny, Ace. I'm taking basic journalism courses now for my minor in college, and it's funny how the college treats like basically as your first journalism class, like the way the Navy did it or the way the military did it and the way they do it. It's like the approach is so different. It's kind of wild. I'm enjoying it. Like I feel like I'm annoying my teacher because I'm kind of letting him know that I know kind of everything in this class beyond like some more civilian stuff, but. He seems pretty cool with it, but I commented on like, yeah, like the structure, the way you build it up is so different. Like it's just the difference between like a university wants you to learn and a military that wants you to be pragmatic with your skills. I'll say it that way. One thing you new guys coming in to learn, the Navy's or the military in general is big on pragmatism. There's not a lot of learning for learning's sake. It's like if you're learning anything, it's for a very pragmatic reason. And if you want to go subs, go subs. I personally wouldn't do it. I was very happy being on the surface ships. I like going out for fresh air a couple times a day. More than that when I smoked. That's exactly what it is. MC is it's public relations, but when you take journalism classes, it's college. They go over the entire career field, which includes public relations, but you'll end up with a lot of less than kind of how the things civilian journals have to worry about vice us. So that's kind of why I'm just kind of retaking everything just so I can get like that whole feeling. I think there's a lot of these classes I could skip. I'm not going to just because, I just want to get the full civilian side of it. Killjoy, I didn't read your last question. Sorry. Yeah, respect veterans. Just going out the weather deck for smoke and like seeing no land in sight is crazy. And even 20 years, I never got used to it. Yeah, you can't talk the Navy period as a sailor, not just as an MC, but especially as an MC or your public relations. You're supposed to. Your job is literally to be to tell how good the Navy is. Subs go to the North Pole is very correct. They've not as much as they used to do in the Cold War, which made sense because of Russia, but they still do go up and do a patrol up there for sure. They have icebreakers. There was a picture of one sub breaking through a bunch of ice, and like a polar bear was kind of walking along beside them. It's crazy. That's interesting. CGs go to the pole all the time. I would think that would be out of your jurisdiction. You'd be up. Well, I guess around Alaska. Okay, that makes sense. Never mind. I'm thinking Canada for some reason. Like, why would you be in Canada water? But yeah, sure. Yeah. Coasties would be up there patrolling around the northern tip of Alaska. You downvoted trolls, people who don't like me personally. I don't know. Can't be everybody's friend. Look at some of my comments on my videos. I'm definitely not everybody's friend. Hell, I'm not even my mom's friend today. We had a disagreement about politics today, so. You do this kind of work and put yourself out there, you get you get other people's opinions. There are 90s I made an arm from Lincoln and Gulf briefing. Occasionally you see some Army guys on a ship doing intel analysis during the first Gulf War. That would make sense. Common misconception: U.S. Coast Guard doesn't just hug the coast. I know they go out further, but pointing that out is correct. I should have been more expressive in what I meant. Yeah, but the first thing anyone thinks of course, is like Coast Guard guards the American coast. I mean, it's in the name. But then again, we have an Air Force, and the Navy has a bigger Air Force than the Air Force. So why have an Air Force? The military is just confusing that time. The names don't always mean everything. Navy's as big on their air power as there is sea power, and there is an Air Force. I don't know if that ever made sense to me, but Air Force does more it's more deep location, where the Navy's more quick takeoff. That's why they're aircraft carriers versus long range. That's kind of the basic difference. But I mean, the Army also has airplanes, and so does the Marines. So we all have planes for some reason, and the Army has boats. Yeah, right. Air Force used to be Army Air Corps till after World War II. They broke off into their own service, and which was good for them because they kind of got to make up their own rules for their branch, and they can get rid of all the shit they hated about the Army and get rid of it when they start up their own branch, which the rest of us don't have the luxury because we have 200 plus years of tradition. Which is why generally I think the Air Force is a lot more laid back than the other services. Talking about crossing the line, Golden Dragon crossing the international state line. I never got into that. Like I'm a shellback, but you know, being a golden shellback or being a blue nose is like it's good enough. But it's a big deal to some people. So cool. Stationed a couple of years in Air Force Base. It was nice. Yeah, ones I've been to are usually really nice. Remember, Japan, Yokota, and Kadena are generally the two nicest bases in Japan. Think of FCs. They fire missiles. They work on the technical parts of making sure missiles go off. It's a good job with good benefits, and you get out, you got a lot of electronics training if you choose to. If you like to shoot off missiles, hey, what a great job. Cults in their own ranks. What deep cultural traditions outsiders don't know? Do you agree? Yeah, I talked about this in a couple of videos. I know I talked once about bosun's mates in the Navy are kind of their own cult, kind of their own thing. And they definitely have like a bigger divide than other rates that I've ever seen in the military. Spec Ops, I mean, I think the SEALs, that's a brotherhood. Other gunners' baits are pretty tight. Anybody dealing with bombs and explosions, aviation ordnance men are a tight bunch and also kind of their own thing. I said the nukes and CTs and the really gadgety push button high ends are kind of nerdy. The bosun's may said like a cult, but they're like, you know, they're decades. They're the rough and tumble, like longshoremen, blue collar guys in the military. Are the Navy. My own job, I'd say, too many pretty boys who think they're too good to be in the Navy. A lot of guys who wanted to be TV broadcasters, and a lot of them ended up being the beat reporter for some podunk-based paper, and are unhappy about it. Those are the best. I wanted to go to AFN, man. Fuck this. AFN's Armed Forces Broadcasting Center. But yeah, you put your foot in broadcasting. Military is a cheaper way to do it if you get no money for film and communication school. You know, and it's a hard job to break into without experience. And go ahead and get the experience and the training in the military. It's a great loophole. I mean, I'm honestly doing the degree for fun. Well, you want to be a print journalist, Ace, so it makes sense. The Coasties have a public. They call theirs PAs. I had a PA3 Skidmore in my my journalist class coming through. Our one and only Coastie. But they're the only ones that don't get to go through the broadcasting side of it because the Coast Guard doesn't do broadcasting. Respect veterans as Coast Guardmen. Which is the correct term, Mr. Future MC. Your AP Stylebook will tell you the proper term for a Coastie is a Coast Guardsman. Soldier, sailor, airman, marine, Coast Guardsman. But everyone else in the world calls them Coasties. Yeah, they'll give you the book. That's like one of the first things you'll do in class is learn the AP style book. Remember, the parentheses goes on the outside of the punctuation. Now you're an ET. Coastie and ET, okay. Puddle Pirates is derogatory as much as Squid or Jarhead is. It's just a, you know, fun, good natured ribbing between services. Don't read too much into it. Someone gets butthurt about that stuff, they probably get 2 years and got kicked out. And now I'm putting up a big front. Real service members can take a fucking joke. I said 20 years. You know how many fucking gay jokes I got? It's unbelievable. I was telling my boyfriend that the other night. I mean, my wife, and she just kind of held me until I stopped crying. I mean, if you have a name like Respect Veterans, you're ready to fucking fight, dude. So I was you know, thinking you weren't going to be fucking overly offended by the term puddle pirate. Coast Guardsman is the only official term. They've changed it in the last 2 years. I'm unaware of it. Well, yeah, Respect Veterans. Coastie is what everyone else calls them, but for journalism writing purposes, it's Coast Guardsman, according to the Associated Press Stylebook, which is what the military public affairs uses. Intel school, you got along with the Navy guys, butted heads with the Marines, and everyone picked on the Air Force. I'm guessing your Army. You said you were Army Intel analyst. Okay. Damn Neck, right? Damn Neck Creek, right? So my good friends on my first ship were ISs, Intel specialists in the Navy. I think the least branch I ever got along with, because Fort Meade, and it's on an Army base, and it's all branches school. The Army ran it, and I got along like the least with the Army probably, and not all of them. A lot of them were cool dudes, but you know, anybody had a problem with at that school, my 10 months there was usually Army. I love Marines. The Marines are fucking crazy, but I don't. I never have to mistrust one. I know if they're an asshole, you know they're an asshole off the bat. Army guy will stab you in the fucking back. At least in my experience. I prefer upfront assholes. I don't think I've ever had a problem with an Air Force person. Oh no, that's not true. Did have a problem with my last year, and I had a problem with some Air Force people, but nothing huge. We got it resolved. The Air Force, I will say, the Air Force people in broadcasting can be a little bitches sometimes. So the biggest problem, like sometimes you'll see in those schools, you know, with your fellow Navy guys, is they get a little, like the ones who wanted to be like a little more hard charging military types, like really fall in love with the Marines. It's like a fucking sick crush. Top, I heard that in the Marines, calling the first sergeant top. I didn't know the Army did that too. But yeah, like those guys are always kind of like, they mope around and, you know, complain the Navy's not as fucking militaristic and gung ho as the Marines, and they go hang out with them and try to do their PT with them. Like, you know, Those guys are cute. And then on the opposite hand, there's Marines that want to come hang out with us because like, goddamn, my barracks are too goddamn uptight. You guys are way more laid back. Friend going SEAL, linebacker high school. Well, not a bad start. I hope he should have also been on the swim team. That probably would have helped a lot too. Did I do regular PT? My first ship did command PT. Rest of my time in the Navy, it wasn't a command PT. Like it was on your own. You know, sometimes I did divisional or departmental, but like it was very spotty. Navy's really lax on, you know, command physical activity. My first ship did it because my first captain was an absolute PT fucking freak. That dude ran like 5 miles on the flight deck every fucking day. You know, Captain LeBrecht didn't fuck around. And he had bad knees too. He said, like, if I can run 5 miles on bad knees, you guys can run a fucking mile. What are you gonna do when your captain fucking challenges your ass and starts off the run? You fucking follow him. Seventh Fleet, as my original stomping grounds. What do I think about what's going on with them? I think a lot of the reports coming out are true. I think there's a lot of it's the op tempo is just going too hard. You're getting a lot of really tired, overworked watchstanders, and you know if there's problems in training, you know, so be it. But I don't think that's the only problem. It definitely has to be also connected to what I saw back in the '90s, which I know it's at least doubled since then, if not tripled. The op tempo the Seventh Fleet keeps up, which is fucking hectic and crazy. And I saw that from the flagship. And I don't know what the cruisers and destroyers on the fucking carrier were doing out compared to what we were doing. And then you take that knowledge and triplify it, move it up to modern day. That those guys are being run ragged. And so fix that problem. Fix the add more men to the ships. The smart ship shit doesn't work. Make sure there's good rotational watches. Make sure everyone's trained properly. If there's a training issue, then yeah, absolutely that has to be addressed. And you said something about MEPS Killjoy. Sorry, before I got off my rant there. Say again. Yes, that's what happens when you're the boss and two ships fucking crash under you. If you're heading into basic training or boot camp, blend in. That is the best advice to give unless you want to be one of the guys that stands out for a good reason. I'll refer back to my my original advice to in the Navy video. Go check that out if you haven't seen it. But yeah, there's three kinds of people at boot camp. The people they all know because they're awesome. The people on the other end they always know because they're fuck ups, and the people they don't know because they don't do anything wrong or right. Really, they're just kind of in the middle. And yeah, you can definitely in a group of 80 people, you can get through there, and they'll shake your hand at graduation and says like, "Dude, I don't even like." Your recruit training officer will be like, "I don't even fucking know who you are. You did," and they'll say that you did it. That means you did a good job. So not a bad thing to do. But yeah, if you're like more motivated and want to shoot for meritorious promotion at a boot camp, try to be one of those outstanding guys if you think you're up to it. It all depends on your mindset. I mean, no one starts out to try to be the fuck up, but if you end up being the fuck up, I mean, it's not. It's a little harder hill to climb. Rest in shock. Your 3 roommates, all military, none of them cook to save their lives. Okay, yeah. I don't know if that's a military-wide thing, but generally, yeah, they probably never had to cook for themselves. I know a lot of guys in the military that weren't even cooks that were good cooks because they had to cook growing up. A lot of people don't know how to do their laundry. A lot of people don't know how to do a lot of things they do in the military. They don't know how to clean anything. Guess what? In the military, you got to clean a lot. No, they probably were mama's boys who never had to cook for themselves. In the military, they never had to cook for themselves, and then became your roommates. And yeah, they never learned how to cook. I was in the military and then got married, so my wife cooks. So yeah, I cook a handful of things, and it's very rarely. That's just how it is sometimes. I'm not saying I'm proud of it, but I mean, yeah, I don't really know a shitload about cooking. If I was ever in a situation where I was by myself or with roommates, I probably would have learned myself. I probably would have taught myself. Just seems like something I would do, but if I don't have to do it, I don't fucking do it. Yeah, same thing. I'm a meats and omelets guy. I just made an omelet this weekend. It was fucking awesome. I cook steaks on the grill. I think I'm a pretty damn good steak cooker. And I can make myself a burger. I can make a homemade pizza. I can make a couple casseroles. About it. Unless it's microwaved. I was raised by an old Southern woman. Traditional. She's the one who cooks. She loved cooking. I had no reason to ever learn to cook growing up under her. She still stuffs me when I go home every time. I can grill and follow a recipe, but don't expect me to wing it. Yep. I wing it. Sometimes winging it works out. I'm just like, I'll just throw a bunch of random seasonings in there. I'm like, yeah, fuck it. This sounds good. Sometimes it works out. Sometimes it don't. Amazing all the connections we're getting over here. All you El Paso people talking. Yeah, the reason I was down there, my cousin worked down there with the DEA, and her now ex-husband, who was Army, got stationed down there. Said cousin now holds a high position in the VA. That's all I'll say about that. Having a conversation among themselves in the chat here. Yeah, the VA sucks. Not enough people for too many fucking veterans. Individual people in the VA are usually pretty cool, but overall structure is fucking terrible. 11 general orders memorized already. All right. On a good start. Do you have your military alphabet memorized? You practice making your bed and folding your clothes the correct way? Yeah, hurt in basic and Air Force. Wow. I mean, you get hurt anywhere, I guess. Marines really get fucked up. Their broke dick platoon is fucking huge, but I mean, it's fucking Marine training, so imagine. Well, they don't take anybody over like 29. Terrible folding, yeah, that's gonna hurt you in fucking boot camp, dude. They expect absolute perfection in like making your bed and folding all your fucking shit. You'll figure it out. I wasn't the best, but I got by. First, last. You didn't miss anything. It was just an AMA talking about whatever. Ask any question you want. Separates the Navy from the other part of the branches. I think it's attitude. I don't think it's really military per se, like the Army and the Marines. It's not really corporate, like kind of how I feel the Air Force comes off. I think the Navy's it's kind of a blue collar, rough and tumble bunch. Boot camp, toss your bunk every day till you get it right. Yeah, they go by, and whether it's a inspector coming by or your actual RDCs, and they go by and they notice something amiss, yeah, they'll fucking toss it. Might just be yours. It might be everyone in your area. It might be the whole fucking compartment. So that people can learn to fucking look out for each other. So it's not just about making sure your shit's straight. You got to keep an eye out for people you know who have issues. Just to avoid getting your own ass kicked. What's up, Colot? You somebody I know? Use my real name. Not that it's a secret, but. No, okay. Appreciate you being a fan, man. Yeah, and fastest way to learn to work as a team is to be punished by one. That'll happen fast. You're not going to start off perfect. You're going to get your ass beat till you learn to fucking be cohesive. And there's no way you learn that other than working together for a while. Joining NJROTC, any advice? Follow along. Keep your head down. Listen. Make sure you're doing everything right. Be motivated. Right. It's very similar to team sports. Played football, you definitely understand. But, like the first time you guys come into practice every year, no matter how good you all are individually, you're not a team yet. Like, you just have to put the time in together. And boot camp's just more of a pressure cooker where, you're going to get punished right off the bat. They're not going to say, like, oh, well, you guys are new at this. It's going to be like, no, bitches, get your shit together right now. We don't have time for you. That's just the mentality. It's not that extreme outside the military, but it's close. It's the same. The same basic principles apply. It just won't be quite as intense as boot camp. What do you think about the song "In the Navy"? First time I heard it, I heard it as a little kid. My parents were fans. We had the 8 tracks. It's like, I was a really little kid. It was like the late 70s, early 80s, and I used to hear the fucking Best of the Village People on 8 track at my parents' stereo. So I don't know what I thought of it. I thought it was a catchy tune. Yeah, if I blast the song now, I'm going to get busted for copyright on YouTube. What's up, Baby Bleach? Yeah, every time I play music or do anything on these streams, that like they fucking get me for copyright. All I'm doing is trying to provide. I'm not even trying to monetize it. I do these for fun, and I'm just playing as background music. But the automated bots don't know the difference. Do his run barefoot with a lit cigarette. Yeah, I've seen. We had a Kuwaiti guy. He used to run a fucking 9-minute mile and a half with a cigarette out of his mouth. I think I just missed the last question by somebody. Kuwaiti guy was apparently former Kuwaiti Special Forces too, and he ended up being a cook in the Navy. Go figure. U.S. Navy. Who are you asking is Army Bleach? I'm ex-Navy. Didn't know about that title. The song, the music video was Navy officials didn't know there was any kind of reputation behind the Village People as being a gay dance troupe. And I think only like half of them were gay, but regardless, they did the Navy video. They shot it on like a ship, and then later found out like stuff, like more about the Village People, and then asked them not to release the video. Or they pulled all sponsorship after it. Obviously, the video still exists. You can go watch it right now on YouTube. Is that how the rumor started? No, it's the basic idea is the same as prison. It's like a bunch of dudes traditionally out alone at sea, no access to women. So of course people always assume the Navy was gay. Are there gay people? Of course there are. There's like, is it like a majority? Or like, no, not even close. It's about the same as anybody else. But jokes is jokes. People are gonna make them. If it upsets you, stop thinking about it. What do you need help with, Baby Bleach? Dad is PTSD. Okay, mine did too. Gets angry real quick. That sucks. Needs therapy and possibly meds. Lucky I did not have that. I thank the powers above. He just had nightmares. Any stories of officers doing stupid things? God, I think I've been asked that question before, specifically of officers. I mean, other than like running our ship into the fucking the oil tanker, that was pretty stupid. Like just general everyday stupidity. If I thought about it, I could think of a few. Like the ones that come to mind mostly are usually I wasn't around officers a lot. It's usually around my peers. Stupid shit they did. Yeah, Lieutenant Owen showed up for duty section turnover and was hitting everybody on like haircuts and shave, and someone noticed that he really hadn't shaved that morning, and someone called him on it. That was pretty fucking funny. Yeah, in the Navy, if you're on a ship, you see a JG with a slow pin, he's probably slightly confident. You see a butter bar or a JG without his pin, yeah, be wary. And then be wary of the 03 lieutenants because they probably think they know more than they actually do. You don't feel worthy. You hang out with friends who are in the military. It happens. You know, I've hung out with like family members that all are service. They're all combat. They are all in combat, and I wasn't. I wasn't. So at some point, the conversation just, you know, I even in that position, I kind of fell out of the conversation because I can't relate because I wasn't infantry or army or marine rappelling out of helicopters. So I just didn't have anything to talk about. And I was like, ugh, it happens. You know, just don't worry about it. Like you are who you are, and like you can't, you know, if you want to live yourself up to some other expectation, then that's you have to take the initiative on it. If not, be happy with who you are. You can't tell me if to do E9. I'm an A01. That rarely happens. But it would take someone of utmost stupidity to do that. Oh, stories of officers doing stupid shit. Speaking of, with a Master Chief, yes, I do have a story. Don't know if I've told this on channel before. I think I might have told it in something, but regardless. Yeah, it was this in radio on my first ship. There was this Master Chief radioman, RMCM, the now ITs, and he was he was a great guy, but he had a foul mouth. He was an old school sailor. It's his mid 90s. He'd been in 30 something years. You know, he was old school. His mouth was just foul. He wasn't doing it on purpose to piss anybody off. He just couldn't stop. So this female ensign just got assigned to comm. It was her first station, and like she just kept saying, "Master Chief Griscott, Master Chief, you gotta watch your mouth." He's like, "Yes, ma'am, I know. I'm fucking working on it. I mean, I'm working on it, ma'am. I'm working on it." And like one day, like something was going wrong with comms, and he just started fucking cursing a blue streak. And at some point after that, she pulled him aside in the comm room over in a corner, and she's trying to give the Master Chief with 30 something years a counseling sheet. And he listened to her. She gave the whole thing. Some people were watching it because they saw what was going on. And yeah, when she was done talking, she gave it to him to sign, and he picked it up and balled it up and ate it and walked away laughing. And that was the last time someone tried to give a Master Chief a counseling sheet, especially in 01. I thought that was probably the best way he could have handled that. Pretty intense story going on in the chat over here, so I'm trying not to be disrespectful here. Have any memorable memories in the Navy, Salty? Yeah, so that was one. Hitting a ship was one. Being on the back of a Mexican pickup truck going to a club when we didn't know any of these guys who barely spoke English with like a couple of my buddies. That was pretty interesting. Knowing it was about 5 minutes till Liberty expiration in some island in Japan, and like me and my buddy were like fucking lost in the middle of the city, and somehow we got back. That was pretty fucking funny. Like maybe the hardest I ran in my life, and we were running in a general direction. We were running in a random direction, and we found it. Seeing dolphins often is I don't know, it's funny, but it's awesome. Like I never get tired of it. Like dolphins follow you around a lot. else? On the carrier, I worked next to the Seaman that ran all the cable because I worked in the TV studio. There was I think the captain of the ship mentioned he was like, it'd be nice if I could get uh, get the TV and the news in like whatever room it was. It was like, I don't think it was the captain's cabin. Like he would have already had it there, but like some other, maybe it was his office. For some reason, it didn't have a TV in it. He just like said it out loud to somebody, and it got all the way back to people who ran cable, and all of a sudden, and us journalists got roped into helping them run like a cable line up 4 flights of deck on the island of the carrier until we, someone went and got him a TV out of supply, blah, blah, blah. And then like the captain showed up and was like, what the fuck is going on? We've basically been working for like 4 hours. And it's like, oh, we heard you wanted TV and cable pulled up to this room. He's like, I just said it would be nice. I didn't say do it or anything, or I'm not really sure of this plan. I never said I really wanted it. Can you take all that out of here? That was pretty fucking funny. Like we weren't even mad. Like we've been working all morning on this. I don't even know how to run cable, but we're just fucking lying on the floor laughing because it was just funny to us because all these people in khakis had just jumped out of their seats for the captain, which, he's the captain. Yeah, it done all this work for absolutely nothing. So you'll often find yourself in those joining in situations like that in the military where somebody with officer rank on them said something and everyone took it as gospel, and by the time it got to you, you're doing something really ridiculous. And then later on you find out the officer never wanted that in the first place. My uniform video that got you into me, which one is it? Why did they mess with the Navy uniforms? But yeah, I would say the military is definitely a unique environment. Like I've done civilian stuff too, and like there's definitely a different mentality. Oh, Dungarees for Modern, yeah, that was. Yeah, I knew it takes some flack from that because I knew some people love those fucking dungarees. I just disagree. I just don't think they're good. Other than their jeans, but I mean everything else. I thought once we got to blueberries and whatnot, that's fine. But back pockets for front pockets and a shitty shirt, I thought was, after 4 years, I was pretty sick of it. I didn't think it was a good uniform. And at the time, everyone bitched about it. Everyone fucking bitched. Like no one, I never heard anyone in the 5 years I wore that thing say good things about it. But once it was gone, all of a sudden everybody was nostalgic for it. Yeah, blueberries are going away for good. Me, I would wear the blueberries. The last 3 years, I was actually wearing a Marine uniform, but it was fairly similar. My uniform's perfectly. That's general style is fine. I think it's a good. I think it's a good uniform. Mission first at all costs. Civilian roles mission first if it's financially acceptable. You'd be surprised how much financial stuff comes in line when it comes to the military. You'd be really fucking surprised how much penny pinching that goes on. Like, what is for the mission? Is it really mission essential, or can we get by without it? I worked on a Marine base. That's why I wore a Marine uniform. The command I worked for wanted the Navy in their uniform. We weren't corpsmen or Fleet for Marine Force Navy. Yeah, normally The broadcasters at Iwakuni are like probably some of the very few non-fleet Marine Force who wear a Marine uniform, along with some like aviation types who work for the headquarters command. Yeah, I wore it to. I went back to sea school in Fort Meade. I got told to take it off. They're like, "You're not Fleet Marine Force." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. This is my uniform." They're like, "Well, you can't wear it. You can't wear it." I'm like, "Why?" I'm like, "Because it's just weird." I'm like, "Okay." Yes, I've been to. I was stationed in Japan 6 years, and I've been to a billion ports in Asia. Yeah, broadcasting. My last duty station was AFN Iwakuni, Armed Forces Network. I did TV, radio, all that fun stuff. I went back to my training school at Fort Meade for broadcast management course. That's when the brouhaha over my uniform happened. I had to wear my peanut butters the last few weeks I was there. Peanut butters are the khaki top, black slacks, Navy uniform. It's kind of the in between the dresses and the more work uniform. Why they're called peanut butters, I have no fucking idea. No saying when you get stationed. Pretty much for when you first join. Yep, you have no say. Second and third, everything else after that, yeah, you do have a say in the Navy anyway. Might always be what you want, but you're going to get a choice of some sort. No, you come out of A school, like you're going to get what you get. If you have any influences on it, it's going to be you're super lucky or it's very minor. The last time I farted so hard and I shit my pants, I think that was actually back in the Navy. I was in Iwakuni, and we were doing a group run with a bunch of the Marines and the Navy from the broadcasting deck on the seawall. We kind of split up to do our own sized runs, and I let one go I shouldn't have, and I had to run back to my barracks. And sweatpants, luckily, not shorts. Yeah, that was 4 or 5 years ago at this point, yeah. Don't think I've sharked myself since. But sometimes you just can't trust that fart. Elementary school, aren't you lucky? Well, if you join the military, that might change. Not seen Dunkirk yet, no. I would definitely be willing to say it. Anybody who's got embarrassing stains in their whites? Yes, quite a few. Not just shit stains, but mud stains and people coming back from the ship with all sorts of fucked up stains. Wish list before PCSing, yes. But it's exactly what it says. It's a wish list. I got what I wanted on my wish list, but that was probably more happenstance and luck than anything else. And also I asked for overseas. And if you ask for something like not next to your hometown, they do try to hook you up a little better. Did I have to get the uniform? No. The greens, yeah, I was out for quite a while before that came out. I said I wasn't even wearing the blueberries like at my last station. Like that whole thing didn't even come out until after I was out. So I've been out for almost 2 years now. Two boat collisions the last month. I talked about this earlier before you came in, but basically, yeah, I think there's a problem with too much op tempo in 7th Fleet. I've been stationed there. I know how it is, and it's and from my time in and the ship I was on, I can't imagine what those guys go through. It's like how much it's so many times worse. And you know they keep pulling sailors off ships, and so the training suffers, the watch standards suffer. They're not getting the rest they need. You can't just keep people up for ungodly hours of time expecting them to work at their peak efficiency. And a lot of the problem is like I mean, it always kind of sucks in the Navy. Like you gotta stay on watches and be tired, but they keep taking bodies away from you. Like those hours just get longer and longer, and at some point, something's got to fucking break. So lack of training, too many fucking op tempo hours. That'd be my guess on the collisions, or maybe Chinese hackers. Who fucking knows? Was Admiral of the Navy? What would I change about the Navy? I don't know. Hands in the pockets, number one. That'd be the first thing. It'd be like new rule right away. You can have your fucking hands in your pockets. It'd be the first thing I do, just to make me a popular CNN. Definitely redesign the blues, the male blues, to have a fucking Velcro false front. Forgot to take your hands out of your pocket before you salute. Yeah, that can be a problem. ALS, a lot of vets are suffering from it. That's the first I've heard of it. I have my friend James, who's a lawyer, not military at all. He has ALS. I see him about once a week, and some days like, yeah, I don't feel good about hearing him, about seeing what situation he's in. But no, I never heard about military, like that there's some kind of syndrome coming from the military about it. Interesting. Interesting. How do they not know they were gay about the Village People? Different times, man. The 70s were different. People didn't know Liberace was gay for like 30 years. Seriously. Go watch him now. You're like, what the fuck are you talking about? That guy is solely gay. Yeah. Concussion syndrome, yeah. That's a problem in military and sports. Not all the Village People were gay. It's like, I think 2 or 3 of them, not all 5 or 6. 6. Something like half of them, or almost half of them. Sometimes the jobs and jobs in the show business. Sometimes the job's a room job. You're right. Hey, thanks a lot, Relative Clockwork. Appreciate that. It's always fun getting feedback like this. It's comment section doesn't really foster good communication, I think. And the less whack job, the whack jobs kind of outweigh everything else sometimes too. I just give up. After a couple days, I put up a new video. I really don't comment. I really don't even look anymore. I'm just like, eh. But occasionally I'll dive back in on an old video if something catches my eye. And occasionally I'm saucy and I just fuck with people. Got any Navy tattoos? No, I don't. Both my tattoos are punk rock tattoos. A Misfit skull on my arm and a Dead Kennedys tattoo on my chest. Communications in this age is severely lacking. Yeah. It comes from the no consequences form of communication. You know, when I was first in the Navy, anyone who had a frickin' anchor or USN or anything is, yeah, we consider them Joe Navies, you know, too motivated for me, lols. And the longer I was in, I just never got any more tattoos after like 1999. So if I was ever gonna get another one, it would be my son's name in kanji. Maybe fix my Misfits tattoo because it looks like shit. You know, stolen valor is only a felony if something tangible is taken. Yeah. The general lie about it is protected under free speech. What can you do? Some Army kid gave himself a prison tattoo of his basic training unit. Doesn't surprise me. Don't know so much about the Army, but I know there's quite a few Marines out there that have their boot camp platoon number tattooed on them. I'm sure there's some Navy and other services too, but I definitely know a bunch of Marines that have it. I guess Anchors Away. Another one you should memorize, Ace. Probably get a recording of it. Well, at least the first verse of Anchors Away, what First Last just recited to us. Picture a high school kid tattooed his ROTC creed on his chest. I have high school kids who tattooed their football number on them too. People tattoo some stupid shit on them. At least something related to military service is like probably a little more inside the Navy or inside the military is probably like laughed at, but outside it's probably considered pretty cool. It's like, oh shit, that means something, you know. You didn't get Stewie from Family Guy on you saying fart, and think that's deep meaning for the rest of your life. Drunken boxing stories. I've seen people throw down on there. I don't think I've ever seen like a real smokers, however. I've seen some Navy guys fucking get in a drunken fight in the middle of the street. I've seen some guys get knocked the fuck out. I saw a Japanese dude on a fucking train get knocked out by another Japanese dude. Like destroyed. Like they were just sitting there quietly for like 20 minutes of the train ride. And we got off at some stop a couple before I was getting off to base. One guy just stood up and just punched the other dude straight in the fucking face and just kept pounding him for like quick, like 5-6 seconds. And the guy was like a bloody mess, unconscious, and then he just walked off the train. That's Japan. It's because it's Japan. Because Japan, like that shit never happens. That was like the weirdest shit I ever saw. Advice for joining the Navy. I have a lot. I have a video called tips for boot camp in the Navy. Tips for joining the Navy. It's a 2-part video. Like first half's about boot camp, second half's about general preparation for the Navy. I can go a much longer detail there. A lot of stuff about choose your job carefully, think about where it's going, do your research, show up in boot camp in shape. Don't give, even if you don't like it, make sure you stick through however long you need to stick through, stuff like that. And one of the biggest thing I say is like you're only get poisoned as soon as you get to your first command. I mentioned that in the video too. That's one of the bigger problems is like there's just a lot of guys, people your age that you're going to end up like hanging out with because like they're your peers, and a lot of them have been there a little longer than you, and they just fucking hate life, and they're going to just fucking try to poison you to be just like them. It's an easy trap to fall in. And even if it does fucking suck, you're doing it for you, not for anybody else. Get fucking through it. Yeah, it's the story of like all junior military. It's nothing new. Not even just the Navy. It's every bunch of juniors everywhere in the military ever. There's always the guy who like, my uncle runs a dealership. I was making like $70,000 a year, man, and I don't know why I gave that up to come here. Blah blah blah. Everyone, it was so much better back home. You wonder why they joined. A lot of motherfuckers just get homesick. The exciting life of adventure in the military just turned out not to be for them. They just wanted to hang out at home with their friends and family. Favorite Navy words? I don't have favorites. I mean, I still say shit. Still say Roger, good to go. Still call it the head. You shit I'm the fucking habit of. Payday. I don't think that's really a military term. I think everyone kind of knows what payday is. Yep, you just say aye, or just aye a lot of times. As in yes or affirmative, you say aye. Feeling the pressure to leave the Navy? No, I am fairly even. I've always been a fairly evenly emotional guy. It's just another part of my life. I dream about it all the time. That'll probably never go away the rest of my life. I'm just going to have Navy dreams. It was 20 years of my life. I mean, and obviously I do this channel, so I'm still keeping up with it. I still keep up with a lot. I get to see, I'm still watching, friends on Facebook, make chief and whatnot, or become officers, get out and do their own thing. That's always cool. So like, I think part of my heart will always be in it, but I never had like the depression and loss of like, oh my God, like I lost that structure. I think I just, my mentality, and I can't speak for everybody, everybody's different, but I just moved on to the next different thing. I think it's just how my brain's always worked. I could definitely see it though. I could definitely see it. You did 20 years, that was your life, and it sucked. It could suck sometimes for a lot of people. Poop deck, yes. No, it's an old-fashioned term. They don't actually you don't really hear it anymore. also a goat locker. Hint, there's not an actual goat in there. Not anymore. Yeah, Liberty Call is a nice word. I like that in the military. Or moored shift colors is a nice one, especially if you're pulling in somewhere nice like home or a cool port like in Australia. Are we talking about Elton John and Trump? I like Elton John, all right. He's a sassy little bitch. All this takedown on Madonna a couple of years ago. Scuttlebutt's a good word. Ever experienced a man overboard? A real one? No. But a lot of false thoughts. It's usually a guy sleeping somewhere in a fucking fan room he wasn't supposed to be and didn't hear the announcements. Yeah, a lot of like just regular man overboard drills. But no, we never had an actual man overboard. Ships I've served on. I was on the USS Blue Ridge, USS John C. Stennis, and the USS New Orleans. Yes, the carrier, John C. Stennis was a carrier. Blue Ridge was a flagship, and New Orleans was an amphibious marine carrier. I was also in Naval Air Station Lemoore, recruit command headquarters, Millington, Tennessee, and Armed Forces Network, Iwakuni, Japan. And the Blue Ridge is out of Yokosuka, John C. Stennis is out of San Diego, and then moved to Bremerton, Washington, where they are now. And the USS New Orleans was out of San Diego, which I believe it still is. Unless they moved, maybe they moved it to Virginia. I forget. Last I knew, it was still in San Diego. The Blue Ridge is still in Japan. It's been there forever. It's the oldest ship in the Navy now. And Stennis moved to Bremerton when I was on it, and it's still there. I was carrier life and garage other ships. I preferred it. What comic books were big? Depends on the comic book fan. I don't think there's any specific one. There's any kind of Navy overall thing about. Hell, definitely a lot of people didn't read comic books, so you have to talk to the comic books fans there. This crazy marine story you have. Oh, that's a lot. I was on New Orleans, and they went out for field exercises for like almost the entire trip to Cambodia. So like the rest of the ship was getting like 3-4 days of liberty. They got like 8 hours the last night. And they came back fucking wrecked. Like they were just like, they had to like, the medical had to do a triage on the flight deck to handle all the bodies they were bringing back. They were trying to shove 3 days worth of liquor in 8 hours into them. And the funniest part was the next morning, the CO of the Marine Battalion woke all of them up for PT at 5 a.m. And they were puking all over everything because they're all fucked up. And he was basically just working the liquor out of them. It was hilarious. Except for the people had to clean that shit. Ever seen a ping pong show? In Thailand, I saw a lot of shows, and there was some ping pong acts, and darts, cracking open eggs, opening beer bottles, all sorts of interesting things. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and close up shop here. Thanks for all of you hanging out, asking questions, having a good conversation. I'll go ahead and shut this off. Thanks for coming by. I'll do one of these again in the near future. Talk to you later.